I'm Luke Delamar, and in today's video from the Cinematographer's Guide to Unreal Engine, we're going to be learning how to remotely connect to a cloud computer so that we can use Unreal Engine without needing to physically own a gaming PC. This is for those of you that don't necessarily want to spend a few $1,000s on a new computer. Maybe you've got a MacBook or an iPad Pro that works just great for you. Well, the good news is we can use those now. A quick overview, we'll be using AirGPU to actually run this virtual machine. We'll use a free software called Moonlight to connect to that machine. And from there, we'll be in this virtual Windows environment and you can install Unreal and get started. The one disclaimer I have to share is that this isn't a free solution. The services we're exploring today range from $1 to $3 an hour. And on top of that, there's a small monthly fee for the storage. Now, if you're just starting out and testing Unreal and unsure that you want to invest in your own equipment, I think this is a great option. That being said, if you are a professional and might start using Unreal 5 days a week, I would recommend investing in your own hardware. So before I begin, there were two services that I tested for this video. One was called AirGPU, the other was called Vagon. And I found that Vagon was the easier of the two services to use, but the performance on my computer wasn't quite as good as using AirGPU. And so in the rest of this video, we'll use AirGPU, but I did want to mention Vagon because for those of you that just want the path of least resistance, you could also try this service. And they actually have their own video on how to do this. All right, so on this AirGPU website, we're going to go ahead and log in. So you'll need to make an account. It's going to briefly check the availability of these virtual machines that exist. And in fact, while it does this, I can quickly explain the concept behind what we're doing here. So these machines exist in data centers all over the world. In fact, it's kind of how the world even runs at this point. So AI to data science, they all use these VMs in these data centers. So a service like AirGPU here is just connecting us to a single instance that we can then operate as our own computer. All right, so on this screen in AirGPU, you'll notice we have an option of location. Now, I am in Los Angeles, and you'll notice there's 3 options for US West. What I wanted to mention is these green nodes on the right are all the different types of graphics cards or GPUs in these nodes. You might be wondering, well, how do I know which one to use? Well, thankfully, it's built into the pricing tiers, so the faster GPUs are a little more expensive, but I've also got this cheat sheet right here. Also, something to note that most of these services are actually connecting to Amazon data centers. So these are all GPUs that exist on the Amazon infrastructure. Now, before I select which region, it's also worth knowing that the latency that you get to this virtual machine will obviously depend on where you're connecting to. That being said, anywhere in the US is pretty much fair game. I could connect to an Eastern data center from Los Angeles and it'd still be a very usable experience. It's only really when you're connecting to the other side of the globe that the lag is pretty noticeable. And so for me today, even though I'm in Los Angeles and I might normally want to select Northern California, I'm actually going to select Oregon because it's got more options for these GPUs. It'll estimate a small delay, but I'm not really worried about that. For today's video, I'm going to select the NVIDIA L4. CPU and RAM wise, I'm just going to leave this at this 32 gigs of RAM. For testing purposes, this is all great. I'll leave the streaming quality set to 1080p. You can set it higher to something like 4K, but you will kind of increase your hourly cost here. So the storage is that second part of the cost that I was talking about. I'm going to leave this at 150 gigs for now. The options here for the operating system are Windows 10 or Windows Server. With Windows 10, if you do plan on using this service for an extended amount of time, you will need to add and purchase your own license. You can also select Windows Server and the license is built into the hourly cost. I'll go ahead and do Windows servers today and click Create Machine. All right, on this page, I'm going to turn on my virtual machine by pressing Start. While this turns on, we're going to install Moonlight, which is the software that we'll use to stream and connect to that VM. Moonlight is a free software that's built for video game streaming. We'll download it at this link here. Right now, I'm going to be using it on Windows, so I can use this installer. If you're in a MacBook, they've got a Mac OS installer. And for iPads, you can find Moonlight in the App Store. All right, so AirGPU has started that computer, so I've got that on the right. And on the left, I've got Moonlight open. What I'll do is click Connect with Moonlight, and we'll get this screen right here. It'll actually give you the link to the installer in case you haven't already done that. I'm going to copy this address, and then I'll click this button at the top of Moonlight to add my computer. Paste that address and hit OK. The AirGPU computer should show up here with a little lock on the icon. I'll go ahead and just click it once and it'll give me a 4-digit code that I need to enter back on the AirGPU website and click pair. And after a few moments, you should see a successful connection. So I'll click OK. And now in Moonlight, before I click on my AirGPU computer, I'm just going to quickly check the settings. I previously had been streaming in 4K. I'm going to switch this to 1080 for right now and leave the bitrate at, let's go down to 15 like they're saying. You can leave this higher, of course, but you might just notice a little bit of lag. I'll click the back button and now click on my AirGPU, and you'll see a desktop icon, which I'll also click. And once you do that, you should get connected to your virtual machine. I'm going to full screen this, and there we go. And just like that, we're now in our Windows virtual machine. AirGPU happens to have the Epic Games Launcher installed already, so I'll double click that. You'll need to log in with your Epic Games account, so if you don't have one, you'll need to make one. And once you're logged in, from here, you can just click on Unreal Engine on the left, Library, and install the version of Unreal you need. So I'll do 5.6.0. From this point forward, you can either jump back into the first 20 minutes in Unreal video I have, or if you'd like to see me connect with my iPad in just a moment, we'll do that as well. If you do want to use an iPad to connect to your VM, there's one additional step. Moonlight for iOS requires the computers to be on the same network, and so we'll need to install a free VPN tool called Tailscale, which essentially just tells your iPad and your virtual computer that they're on the same network. The link for this is in the description, but I'll go ahead and download Tailscale for Windows and install it. If you've never used Tailscale, you'll need to create an account, which you can do on your non-virtual computer. I'm going to sign into my own network here. So once I'm logged in, I am going to connect the AirGPU virtual machine to my Tailscale network. So I've installed both Moonlight and Tailscale on my iPad now. And then separately on the Tailscale website, once I log in, I should now see my AirGPU IP address. On the iPad app here, I'll go ahead and click Add Host manually. And the IP address we want here is the one from the Tailscale website. So I'll type that in. And just like that, we should now see the AirGPU on our iPad as if it were on our own local network. Back on my regular computer, I'm going to do the same Connect with Moonlight option again. And on my iPad, when I select that AirGPU and hit pair, we now have access to the VM on our iPad. I'll hit on desktop. And just like that, we're back on our virtual machine. Here I am running Unreal Engine and Moonlight on my iPad Pro. It works great. Okay, so hopefully you've learned how to connect to a virtual instance of Unreal, and you're ready to continue your virtual production and Unreal education.